Let's try this again. Good morning from the Jordan River Valley. I'm traveling north, a little north of Beit Shean at the moment. Had some problems with my tripod. They call it a gorilla, but this morning it's acting more like a chimpanzee. So I just passed the city of Beit Shean. Interesting place. It's was one of the 10 Decapolis cities 2,000 years ago. It is not really prophetic in my opinion, but it was Roman control, and they, in the 1980s, the economy needed a little bit of a boost, so the government of Israel paid people to start digging because of the trade winds coming up from Africa. It was covered, that area was covered with about 30 feet of dirt, sand, and dust that had come up. So they began to dig and became one of the most incredible archaeological finds because of the fact that in the third century when they had an earthquake here, it was it all fell. This dirt comes in, covers it, and so 1,700 years later they're able to see it exactly like it was at the time of 2,000 years ago. So we're, as I said, going up the Jordan River Valley, and had an incredible night last night was able to speak to some of the Hayabel volunteers. There's a Mennonite group in that had just finished a new winery built up in Esh Kodesh. So they were out the night before. Today they'll be down at the Ridge House that you saw. They'll be beginning to put that thing back together. And after meeting them last night, the 2-week deadline, I have great faith that it's going to be done. You're going to be seeing a lot of produce along the way. There's the date palms on the left. I'm heading up toward Tiberia or Tiberias, and this was not even really in my thought process. I was not expecting to come up here, but what was I expecting when I got here? It just worked out. So I need to work with a couple of the hotels. I'm looking forward to the next Connect Israel tour, and I figured what a great time for many of you to take a little ride along the Jordan River Valley. You're noticing that in the distance, green. Yeah, for anybody that's been here in November, like, wait a minute, different climate. There's windmills up on top. The amount of rain that has come into and that we've received in Israel just over the last few weeks, actually, is incredible. Israel is a place where you look at the scriptures and they are absolutely dependent on the rains. The Galilee, the Kinneret, where I'll be going to, this is the main water source. That water comes from as far up as Mount Hermon, the snow on Mount Hermon. There's 7 different climates here in Israel. So if there's no water, Kinneret, Galilee starts to dry up. That affects the Dead Sea, and that affects just the overall water supply here. Israel, because of a drought a number of years ago, began desalination and is the world leader in that process, as they are in many things that they do. So this beautiful green, it's going to be, when the weather warms up just a little bit, it is going to be lush up here. I'm starting to see some of the bougainvillea along the way. I know it's a road, you guys can't see. I can't, wish I could take the camera and move it back and forth, but I'm the only one in the car, so that probably would not be a good idea. A livestock trailer there. Agriculture, this is into the area of the Galilee. Agriculture is the big one, and then up on the Golan Heights it's even more. The trees, for many years it was the Java orange. Israel was the #1
I mentioned yesterday that I would explain to you Area A, B, and C. For those of you that have been here, okay, I know, but there's a lot of folks that have not been. Area A, Israel is broken up into 3 different areas. Area A, B, and C. Let's take it from the top. Area A is Palestinian controlled and is supposed Palestinian security. We all know what a really bad joke that is. That would be areas like Nablus, Jenin, Ramallah, places that you may think, well, it's where terrorism comes from. Got that right, because they really have no security. Wow, how beautiful! They really have. It's a bad joke. Gaza was Area C. That was. Look what's going on down there. 3 more soldiers were killed in just the last couple of days. Cannot imagine what it was like in the midst of that place with the mud and the rain. So Area A is Palestinian controlled. Area B is a little mixture. It is Palestinian controlled as far as their what they would call a government. And their government is basically, if anybody thinks that American government is corrupt, it is. You haven't seen anything, because cows on the left. Haven't seen anything compared to that. Mahmoud Abbas, the Palestinian government is these people are filthy. Well, they're filthy rich. I guess they're filthy also. But it's just a corrupt society, totally and completely. But it is Israeli controlled as far as the security of it goes. This would be a place like Hawara that I drove around the other day. It is a place that there's a lot of terrorism comes out of that. But if you're in the middle of Hawara, like I have been numerous times,
in 1 mile at the roundabout, take the second exit onto Highway 90.
All of a sudden, there's IDF soldiers coming in from everywhere. The other is Area C, and that is Israeli control, Israeli security, complete control. Now, a little test from yesterday: is a Palestinian allowed in Area A? Yes. Area B? Yes. Area C? Yes. They're allowed anywhere. Nobody's going to attack them. Well, there are rare instances, and that's another subject. Is a Palestinian allowed in Area B? Yes. Are they allowed to move freely in there? Yes. They have homes there.
At the roundabout, take the second exit onto Highway 90.
Okay, got it, lady. Maps even works over here really well, really great these days. Is an Israeli allowed in Area A? No. Forbidden by law. Forbidden by law to go in there under the possibility of injury or death. Would not be beyond comprehension.
In about 2 miles at the roundabout, take the first exit onto Highway 90.
An Israeli would be killed, especially now. Is an Israeli allowed in Area B? Yeah. Hawara? How many terrorist attacks have there been in recent months in Hawara? Many, various places like that. Is an Israeli allowed in Area C? Of course, it's Israel's security, but there's still how many terrorist attacks, rammings, stabbings have been in areas of like Jerusalem. There's been instances all over. So the truth is that a Palestinian is pretty much safe anywhere in the land. An Israeli is safe nowhere in the land. Now, I showed you some pictures. I was on the Gator, and if you watched the Gator as we went into the overlook of Nablus yesterday, you might notice that the stabilizer on my phone, on my camera, was working really, really well as you saw.
In 1 mile, at the roundabout, take the first exit onto Highway 90.
It was a lot different. The ride was a whole lot different than what you really saw there. It was incredible. My thanks to Moshe and Leah for making that happen. But you saw the building that was coming up. That's Area C, all right? During Sukkot, Feast of Tabernacles, the United Nations, unwanted nobodies, the European Union, need to come up with a word for a phrase for them, and these leftists, even Israelis, not as much right now during this time, but an Israeli goes out and puts a sukkah, a booth for the Feast of Tabernacles, and everybody goes crazy over it. But a Palestinian goes out and builds a house. If you look
at the roundabout, take the first exit onto Highway 90.
The merged videos on YouTube and Vimeo, you can look at one of those pictures, and it's a mansion, guys. It is an absolute mansion. Of course, all those powers that be, for those temporary powers that be, they call that a refugee
In a quarter
camp.
mile, at the roundabout, take the second exit onto Highway 90.
Israeli cities, like driving through Elon Moreh, that's a settlement, and those settlements are standing in the way of world peace, either one. Back to VeggieTales there. So
at the roundabout, take the second exit onto Highway 90.
Is absolutely craziness. People had not been here. Just watch the news. Even Fox, guys. Okay, I know a lot of you would watch Fox News. They don't know anything. That's where they grow trash bags. That's the blue trash bag. No, I'm kidding. That's bananas.
In 1.3 miles, at the roundabout, take the first exit onto Highway 90.
Why would you put a trash bag on a bunch of bananas? Well, no, it's not for insects. It's so they will all ripen at the same time. Israel is the only place that they actually they've been able to grow 3 crops of bananas per year. This land is just so fertile.
In 1 mile, at the roundabout, take the first exit onto Highway 90.
So, the encroachment into Israeli territory, and of course, the government is doing nothing. Mr. Netanyahu doing nothing to keep this from happening. I was speaking with Moshe and Leah last night, yesterday afternoon, and I asked, so who do you have politically that could step in, will step in? And they're like, nobody. There's nobody that's going to do anything about this situation. So America is really, in a lot of ways, not to get political here today, but is mirror imaging what's going on here. In that it's just
at the roundabout,
chaos.
take the first exit onto Highway 90.
In the midst of chaos, I think that's, if you go back to the book of Genesis, that's where the Almighty shines, is bringing order out of chaos. All right, this video is going to go a little longer, and if I get through this roundabout, I'll go ahead and let this continue to go. This is coming into the
at the roundabout, take the second exit onto Highway 90.
Of Tiberius, and the road that I am turning on. You see the hostage sign there. No matter where you go in the land, hostage sign. There is Poria Elite, and Little Poria in front of me, kind of to the right. You see it on the hillside, the hilltops. To the right is the Galilee, the Kinneret. And though I can't get
at the roundabout,
right now,
take the second exit onto Highway 90.
Never get the chimpanzee tripod back in its spot. I'll be doing plenty of video later on in the day, is my plan, and so that you can see the lake. Oh,
In about 1 mile, at the roundabout, take the second exit onto Highway 90.
I think I might have a turn up here that's going to give you a little bit of a... I'm going to find one, okay? I'm going to find one. Just give me time. The word Hebrew means to cross over, as most of you know. And in just a few moments, we're going to do that. To the right is where the Jordan River, Jordan Creek comes out. And I'll get some more shots of that later on. But we're about to cross over where the Jordan Creek comes out. And we'll be turning north, heading up toward the city of Tiberias. Interesting city. This is where the Jerusalem Talmud was actually written in Tiberias after the destruction of the temple in 70. And so this is a very prophetic place. There was the Jordan River. Okay, we've now crossed over.
At the roundabout, take the second exit onto Highway 90.
Yes, ma'am. Get through this just a little bit, and I'll turn the camera off. Come back a little later on and give you more of a...
In half a mile, at the roundabout, take the second exit onto Regional Road 767.
Give you more of an idea of this area. Not sure what of course, it's unusual. I'm not sure what my day has in front of me, but if I can, I'm going to give you guys some special treats today. Okay. In the distance there, you kind of can see a little bit of blue. That is...
At the roundabout, take the second exit onto Regional Road 767.
I know I've heard you 3 or 4 times. Supermarket. It's funny. Trying to translate things is really something.
In 1 mile, at the roundabout, take the second exit onto Highway 90.
There she goes again. Okay. I'm going to see if I can get a place up here real quick to stop. And if I do, then I will get my camera off the chimpanzee and give you an overview of the Kinneret. Hey, we did it. Kinneret, the Galilee is about 7 miles wide, about 14 miles
At the
long.
roundabout, take the second exit onto Highway 90.
I seem to remember about 90 feet? Or no, it's got to be more than that, but I can't remember off the top of my head. There you go, there's a good shot. We're looking up toward the North Shore.
In about 2 miles, at the roundabout, take the second exit onto Highway 90.
And across will be the Golan Heights. Believe me, I'm going to give you a better. I'm going to try to give you a better shot later. Bougainvillea in May. It is stunning up here. It is overwhelming. The rocks, a little different composition. The rocks here will be basalt. Okay. Forget the cheetah. Here we go. Migdal, all of these amazing towns. So, all right, I've got to get into the city here, so be back in a little bit.
Well, did I tell you I was going to give you a view or what? I mean, how many times have I let you down on this trip? I'm standing on the Arbel Cliff. Interesting, I'm the only one in the whole park besides the employees. I got there to pay for my ticket to get in, and the lady was like, I could see her thinking in Hebrew, what are you doing here? So we're looking down toward Tiberias, which is actually on the other side of that mountain right there. And coming around to the Galilee, all the way in the distance, just about where this closest pass comes in. How to do this? Right in there. So right in over that area right there is where we came across the Jordan River. The Kinneret is called this because it looks like a harp. And the other side is, you're actually looking once again into Jordan. I know those of you that have been here before, you're thinking, how green? I know. It just is overwhelming at times. You're looking into Jordan in the distance, but in the closer area, that's the Golan Heights. The peace outlook is there. We come on around to the area of Engev. Engev, prior to 1967, to give you a little history, there was a 1 mile stretch off of the border, off the shore of the Galilee, that was owned, that was possessed by Israel. From that point on was Syria. And so during the time prior to, from 1948 to 67, Syria owning that, they were looking down with their telescopes, binoculars, into the homes of the Israeli people. 1967, all changed, and the Golan Heights is very needed. You see back over here one of the reservoirs. This was done after, in the 1980s, there was an awareness program of the importance of the Golan Heights, and one of those things is water. So they began to collect these huge reservoirs up on the Golan Heights. As we go on around, this would be the area somewhere in there. I doubt if you can see the wind farms, windmill farms. We're looking out toward Jordan, and then would be Syria in the far distance, back beyond those mountains. This is, of course, this whole area is volcanic. This is on the Syro-African Rift. Beit Shean, that earthquake is right there on top of it. The Galilee and the Dead Sea are part of that. They say that there's a major earthquake every few hundred years. Hasn't been one in about 1700, I think it is, or a little bit more than that. So you never know. Hopefully it'll be not today. Beyond there in the distance now, this would be. Well, let me just give you something else here. All right. In the viewfinder of my camera right here is in excess of 70% of the gospel accounts happened right there. If you were to put your arms from where I'm at, put your arms to the right, to the left, most everything that happened. I'll get back to that. So if we go, let's see, somewhere down in this area here, that would be where the Jordan River comes in. In the Gospels, when it says they went to the other side of the lake, it is not that they went from over here where I'm standing all the way over to the other side. No, it meant they went across the other side of where the Jordan River is. So that was just a way of saying that. It was not a real far journey. It was just going across the river. As you look out here at the river or the lake, Kinneret, think back to the first time I came down from the area behind me of Nazareth. I looked out and I said, I'd grown up with King James, right? I looked out and went, wow, Sea of Galilee. That's not a sea. That's not even a big lake where I'm come from. I started crying. This is one of those areas that the land kind of reached up and grabbed me. But over on the other side would have been where the pigs ran down into the lake. Coming on around would have been the area that the disciples went out in the boat. The Talmudim went out in the boat. You're thinking, oh, wait a minute. They were scared to death. They were fishermen. They've been out there all the time. Well, right now it's calm. I think the first time it's been calm since I've been in the land. Right now it's calm. But when the winds come up here, see that we're in a bowl. Kind of a bowl here, and the winds can literally be coming from all different directions at the same time. I've been out in the Gulf of Mexico when that happened. And scary? Yeah, can be extremely scary. This is why when it says that Yeshua saw them on the lake, we're thinking, okay, a thunderstorm, clouds, fog, all these kind of things. No, it can be a fairly clear day. And this lake can be churned up to the point that you would not want to be out there, especially in a small fishing boat. Now, back on around, we see the triangle of Capernaum, Chorazim, and Bethsaida, I think it is. Been a while since I read that part. That's all right in that area, across where you see this little piece coming in right here. Okay, I'm talking about this area right in there. We would come back into the Mount of Beatitudes in Matthew chapter 5 and 6. Again, Capernaum, coming back in somewhere along this shoreline would have been the infamous fish at the time after the resurrection. Peter says, let's go fishing. Some of the other guys do too. And you can read that account in the end of the Gospels. The area here to this side of me is Migdal, or Magdala. All right, Migdal. There's a beautiful, I haven't been there yet. We were supposed to go this time and we're not able to make it. But this is there was a synagogue that has been found in here. The area right there where you see the hotel, this is the area of Ginosar. It's actually, if you see that white kind of rectangular hotel there, on the other side of that is what looks like some blue burn barrels, and then a little what I would refer to as a little spit going out with something that looks round. That's where the ancient boat became known as the Jesus boat for a time period. I need to move around here on these rocks. It's pretty slick. This is where the ancient boat was found and is housed today. All right, coming around, distance. Okay, out in the distance there, can't quite they're right about there, I think it is Gamla. More to say about that maybe in just a minute. Gamla or Camel. Now over here is Safed or Sfat. This is an interesting place to go to. Kathy and I went there years ago. It is a Kabbalistic area, and it can be a little interesting. It's very artsy. You can buy a lot of stuff up there that you'd never find anywhere else in Israel. So possibility that when Yeshua was talking in the parables and said a city set on a hill Okay, Sfat is about 3,000 years old. He could have also been speaking of Gamla, which is a story all of itself. And I don't really have time to go into that. You can, if you'd like to research that a little bit, you can go to gamla.org. Be prepared, it might rock your apple cart just a little bit. And that might need to be rocked anyway. All right, see if I can turn. There's probably olives right there. I have no idea what else is growing. My first trip, we saw a banana field that caught on fire, and then tried desperately to put it out. Okay, looking around to, excuse me while I change my footing, looking around to the west. Yeah, that's toward the United States. And then in the distance across behind the shrub and everything, that would be the area of Nazareth. A very famous tree, one that Hanok and I have taken some pictures in. It was like it had grown apart. There was two branches that had grown apart. Consider Ezekiel chapter 37. And so we have a picture of us trying to push it back together. Well, of course, somebody came along and cut it down. Just when you're trying to do the work of the Almighty, somebody cuts it apart. All right, what prophetic significance is that? Again, agriculture all the way around. We're coming back to the area we started from. And if you notice, parking lot is down there. Yes, I came up here just to get a video because I wanted you to see the beauty of this. Once again, I'll take it around to the Galilee, the South Shore, Golan, Engev, Gamla, the Gadarenes, pigs trying to swim, Capernaum, Ginosar, all the way back to Magdala. All right, time to go check in my hotel. More later. My room's not ready for me yet. Still got about another hour, so it's time for a bonus. And I'm going to start out by looking toward the Arbel Cliff. Anybody want to guess where I'm at? I'm on the north shore of the Galilee, and this is Capernaum or Capernaum. I'll give you a little panoramic here. There's a beautiful cactus. This cactus is really something. I'll get up here closer to it a little bit. I don't think I've ever seen one quite like that. So we're gonna just do a panorama. Arbel Cliff, Tiberias. Here's a jet flying. There's been a lot of jet traffic over the last 24 hours. All the way down to the south shore. I pulled that in a little bit. South shore of the Galilee. And that's where the Jordan River goes out. Golan Heights. around, I think that's the storks in the distance there. I get down a little farther. Not sure what that is actually. The white birds, you probably can't see that. This is a migratory coming up from Africa, one of the main migratory routes. I cannot remember the number of birds that come through this area on a yearly basis. You have storks, you have all kinds of stuff. So we're gonna head up to into the town of Capernaum. If I can get my footing there and drop that back and just walk with me. Beautiful area that they have made down here. This is owned by the Catholic, one of the Catholic churches. You can tell by the flag over there. This area, which was at the time of Yeshua all totally Jewish, we're going to take you up to a synagogue here, but has pretty much been taken over. And the reason for that is that Constantine's mother came here on a Holy Land tour. Those words kind of creep me out. The Holy Land tour. How about just calling it Israel? And she started paying the inhabitants of the land, not the, and my history here is not real good, but not the Jewish inhabitants of the land, but I guess that would be Arab, Bedouin, Byzantine. Hanok would have to get me on that one. And so she came over and said, where did this happen? And they would point to something and she would give them money. Well, you know how that goes. And that's how everything became, this is where it happened. Go up to the Mount of Beatitudes, that's where it happened, because somebody got paid for telling her that. One area that has kept its Jewish history more than probably any of the others is this area of Capernaum. Over to the synagogue, we're going to go there in a minute. And you're like, okay, what is that? UFO. No, we've identified it. It's not flying. So no, it's just an object. What is it? It is the Memorial Church of St. Peter. This is traditionally, and I'd have to give them this one probably. This is where, I'm not going to go over. There is a tour group here from somewhere. I have no idea. It's endangered species in the land right now. But this is traditionally where the mother-in-law of Peter, Shimon Kifa, was sick. Yeshua raised her up, healed her, and of course, being a good Jewish mom, the next thing she does is cook dinner. So this is the town of Capernaum. Where all these things happen, we don't know. But this is the town, so we know that it's somewhere pretty close to the vicinity that I'm standing in that these things happened. I'll walk over to some of the artifacts of that day. The capitals that were found. These are intriguing, by the way. So you're going to see a lot of Jewish artwork, early Jewish artwork. Of course, the grapes. That would be pomegranates. This dates back over 2,000 years. Wait a minute, here's going to be an interesting one. The five-pointed Star of Solomon. brings up the whole issue of the Star of David, which is, by the way, what do we see here? The Star of David. And this is a symbol that is hotly contested by people. I tend to disagree with most of what they're saying, but it is basically, it's the ancient Paleo-Hebrew, the two letters of his name, the Dalet, and the Dalet, one turned looking toward the heavens, one turned looking toward the earth, the earthly realm. So, I mean, this is a symbol to me of your kingdom come, your will be done. Going around this and to the synagogue. There's I think this is an Asian group that's here. Not really sure. Haven't gotten that close. This is how it was during the Intifada. There was nobody here. Recent years, there would be people everywhere. Even last year, even 2022, when I was here. Now, late 4th century of the Common Era, white stones built upon the basalt. So these stones, this was an actual synagogue at the time of Yeshua. And so this is probably the bedrock, the foundation of the synagogue that we read about in the Gospels. Fascinating. Before we go in, turn around to what's left. This is the town of Capernaum. How's that for loving your neighbor? You better, because you're right next to him. Not a whole lot of privacy in that day. So most of the town was right there. You're seeing it right here in my viewfinder. And then the synagogue, which would have served this general area. We walk in. The front would have been the bima, where the leader would be speaking from. The people on the outside, there would be a lot of discussion back and forth. It was not just one man standing up saying everything. There would be interaction, what is called midrash, that would be going on. And then a fascinating place is, what do you do with all the children? The children, they're making a lot of noise. Well, yeah, I know. So what is believed is that this is in the stones some type of games. Please don't say children's church, okay? We're in a synagogue. This would have been some type of games that they brought the children out into this area. Speculation, okay? So the town of Capernaum, Capernaum. Now, considering that what I refer to as the renewed covenant, the words from Matthew to the right, it was a Jewish culture. It was a Jewish Messiah. He was speaking to Jews. Which one looks kind of more in line? Here or there? I guess it begs the question, which mindset do we have? Is our mindset based upon the culture, the people, the events, the customs, the traditions of that day? Or is it based more on Constantine's mom? It's a question we all have to ask. That's it from Capernaum.